If you can't show me you can do the work, I can't hire you. Okay. And when you do that, that's your best chance of getting a job and landing a job. It never stops. Your whole career, you will increase and learn and try. And if you don't do that, you die. Okay. You got to be constantly improving, constantly growing. That's the key. And when you love it, it's a joy to do. No one today should be afraid of technology. You have to learn this stuff. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? 100%.
Hi, Sergio Paez, storyboard artist and founder of Storyboard Art, the #1 online resource for visual storytelling where you train with other storyboard professionals to make a living with your art. As a storyboard artist, many people have no idea what the industry is like or how to get there. The art schools don't cover this kind of stuff because they focus on basic skills, not entertainment industry specific skills. After 25 years as a storyboard professional and now director, and more than 15 years mentoring artists to have a successful career, I know a thing or two about training artists to get them to the pro level. I did a talk recently where I talk about how to make it in the industry. So if you want to be a successful storyboard artist, here's how to get started.
A storyboard artist, is somebody who creates images for a particular narrative story, and they're sequential images to describe the shots in a narrative project. So imagine a film, a TV show, an animated, cartoon. They're usually the pre-production drawings are created beforehand, and that usually lays the blueprint for the production. And that's what I've been doing for a long time now in my career. And now I branched out into doing directing. So I can talk a little bit about that too, which a lot of people seem interested in, is kind of the path that you would typically follow to get into the industry and where that leads. And I really enjoyed that part because you're at the very beginning of a project and you develop that through your images, and you have a lot of input and responsibility for creating the story. And that's very, very fun for me to participate in. I went to traditional art school. So out of high school, at a young age, I went to art school. That was like my university jump. And I spent 4 years at an art school where, if you're not familiar with this path, what you would do is you train as an artist. It's a very specific path. Essentially, you've kind of like, people who go to art school have chosen what they want to do for a career in a lot of ways. There are many different subcategories like fine art and graphic design, and there's many different 3D art and stuff like that. There's many different variations. But studying art is a field that you can go into. Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know, this is a real legitimate thing. And this is how you get into, this is one of the ways how you get into the film industry and creating images. Okay, so I went to 4 years of art school. I basically learned how to draw there. The training was a practical training in a lot of classical, like figure drawing animation. And Carol probably remembers this from the academy days. I did go to the Academy of Art as well. It's an art school in San Francisco, and they have different departments. And I was in like the illustration department at the time, and they had a growing animation department. So I learned a little bit about like computer animation but mainly classical drawing. So I learned about perspective. I learned about figure drawing. I learned about painting, color, that kind of stuff. And it was awesome. So I'll just let you guys know, if this is something that you're interested in, it's just fantastic things. Like when you're a kid, you like to draw and paint and color and stuff. And that's like, that was what I was doing day in and day out. And it was very serious, right? So when you're at that level, it's like you've gone to like the next step up. And so you got to practice. You got to apply yourself, right? It's not just like, oh, fun, I'm an artist and I get to play around. No, you're there training and learning, and the teachers were very good. So I got a really like disciplined training on how to do it, which I love, because I'd never done that before. And guess what? Out of that, I produced some drawings. Now, was I ready yet to work in the big leagues? Not really. So basically, what you do there, you work on your portfolio, and then you have a body of work that now you can show people. And when you're ready to graduate, you go out and start applying for real jobs. This is where like you want to get paid and you want to be working on films and stuff. And you got to kind of start out entry level, just like any other job. And that way you work your way up to doing stuff. And that's what I basically did. I was going to mention another couple things too about this particular career path. That's one way of doing it, is doing the university kind of path. And I got a degree. I went there 4 years and the whole thing, paid a bunch of money. It's really expensive. So there are alternatives nowadays, which is really awesome. So for those of you guys who are interested in this kind of thing, just know that there are many ways to get to the end goal. And for me, the end goal was to work on films. Like I wanted to be working in the film industry as an artist. And that was really what I wanted to do. I find this a common theme and a common worry for a lot of people, especially young people who are starting their careers, like they don't know how to do it and they're scared, I'm gonna be broke. And that's the same things like a starving artist, like that kind of stuff. So what you want to do, same thing, kind of the same general rules apply. You have to create a body of work that applies to the type of jobs that you want to do. And then the wonderful thing about the type of industry that we work in, it's based on your skill level and your knowledge and your experience. If you can't show me you can do the work, I can't hire you. Okay. So you have to have a portfolio. You have to prove to me that you have the skills to do the work. And that's why I say it's not easy, because you have to learn how to do the task. And that's often a difficult thing to do. But if you can create a body of work, which is kind of, we also train people to do that, then there's another part where you go and you solicit, send out your portfolio, and then you do this digitally nowadays. You do an email, you can post it on your website, you can start applying through the online portals for different jobs, for different companies. And then, if you have the right kind of work, hopefully you get a callback, you get an interview, and then they're going to talk to you about your work. And then starting out, you might get a test. There are different ways that you can actually get your foot in the door. But the best way is to prove to them that the body of work that you have is really strong. And when you do that, that's your best chance of getting a job or landing the job. The work does not end there. Okay. It's not like, I can really, oh, wow, I got a job. Great. I'm going to get paid. No, the work and the study and the enthusiasm, the passion starts there. And that's where you have to learn and grow as an artist. And that never stops. Okay. It never stops. Your whole career, you will increase and learn and try and build your skills and your knowledge more and more and more each day. If you don't do that, you die. Okay. You die artistically. You die career-wise. You got to be constantly improving and constantly growing. That's the key, right? And the key starts with the passion. You have the passion, it won't hurt to grow, it won't hurt to study, it won't hurt to do these things because you like it, you love it. You watch movies, you watch films. Okay, you love this kind of stuff. You love art. And when you love it, it's a joy to do. Okay. You really love this stuff, it will come naturally in, and you'll get through those hard times to do it. One thing that I will just recommend, like straight out the bat, like no one today should be afraid of technology. You have to learn this stuff. You have to learn how to use the computer, learn how to use the digital tools. You have to learn all of the software packages you can. So like Mac OS, Windows, Linux, even like iOS and the mobile apps and stuff like that. Don't be afraid of that stuff. It can be intimidating at first, but this is the kind of stuff you're going to need to use, and types of programs you're going to need in the workplace. For storyboard specific stuff, one thing I recommend for most people, you should absolutely learn a program called Photoshop. If you haven't learned it already, at least know how to maneuver within that. And if you really want to specialize in illustration and art, you want to learn how to draw and paint in Photoshop, which is not that hard. It really isn't. Okay. There are other programs that are very good and very easy to learn, like Procreate for the iPad. That's an awesome program. I know many people who do high quality professional work in a program like that. It's pretty low cost. If you specialize in storyboards, you will probably touch Toon Boom Storyboard Pro, which is a storyboard specific program. So imagine Photoshop with a storyboard focus. Okay, let's go to the 3D programs. Blender is one of the ones that's really popular now because it's like accessible, it's pretty low cost, and you can do really great things in Blender. That's a 3D program. And again, don't be afraid of 3D. So Unreal Engine is a video game engine that is now used for a ton of things. Again, it's not that hard once you get into it. These things get intimidating once you first open them up. There's all these buttons everywhere. But once you understand the interface, you should be fine. If you want to specialize in one thing or the other, you should still learn 3D. If you want to be an illustrator, you should still learn how to use 3D programs, understand how to manipulate the 3D space. Don't be afraid of that. Try it out. Just look for a couple tutorials. It's really not that hard once you sit down and do it. There are many others that I could mention, like the Adobe suite in general, like Illustrator and Premiere and After Effects, all that stuff you should probably learn. And I will mention one more, which is DaVinci Resolve. which is an editing package that also has like effects and nodes built in there. And you could go deep with any of these things, but if you really become like familiar with one of them, you can transition into a different package with, within a short amount of time. Okay. It does take practice, and you got to, like I said, not be afraid of technology. I will mention one more thing too. One tool that we use, which is like a fancy monitor that you can draw on with a pen. So imagine like an iPad Pro in a much bigger format that you plug into your computer, and that you could just draw on it. And it's pretty awesome to create images like that. But without that, you can use an iPad, you can use any kind of tablet. Like, you really don't have to get that fancy. I do though recommend that you use something digital nowadays. If you want to go the pro, if you want to become a pro, you got to use the digital tools. It's not enough nowadays to just go on pencil and paper anymore. You really got to go digital. My general advice is that you just become familiar with these tools so that no one of them will throw you off. Like, if a job asks you to do something in 3D, you're not going to freak out or have to say no to it because of that. The next thing you want to do is, when you decide that that's something you like, or that you want to go through that career path, find others that are successful doing that. And you can find them on LinkedIn. You can go to these events and ask them, go up and shake their hand and talk to them. Okay. And just be honest. Be like, look, I'm trying to get into this. You're doing this already. Tell me what I need to do. Or just ask their advice. What would you do if you were me? People love to talk about themselves, right? So you'll probably launch them on a big speech, and they'll just tell you about what they're doing and how to do it. If they're willing. And there you go. At least you get some advice, you get some guidance. Then once you do that, you're going to have to create a blueprint on how to get there. Okay. And that's where it's like, step by step, you do the necessary training and skills and learning to get there, right? You got to systematically learn your scales, practice your thing, get a teacher, get a mentor. And then years down the line, you're actually going to be able to do something really amazing and at a very high level. Same thing goes with any discipline, like sports, music, art, anything really, if you want to work at a very high level. So, and that's what it takes. And so, like I said before, is it easy? No. Is it worth it? 100%, man. This is like the best thing you could possibly do, because you're going to love what you want to do for a living. That's what you want. I mean, that's what I want. I should project my feelings on people, but like, I don't want to be working at a dead-end job that I don't like. I want to be doing the things that fulfill me, but also have a career path. And that's where I say the entertainment industry does have that. You just may not know about it. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration.